All right, settle in because I'm about to show you some cringe-worthy video clips. This week, Donald Trump, as you might know, visited a number of countries in the Middle East, visiting countries in Europe, landed in Brussels, Belgium today. Monday and Tuesday, Trump was in Jerusalem, in Israel, meeting with President Rivlin and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A number of highlights, and I want to lead up to Donald Trump totally and completely humiliating himself once again. But let's start slow. I don't want to throw everything at you at once. So Trump arrives in Israel after leaving Saudi Arabia, and he says, "We just got back from the Middle East." Of course, Israel is in the Middle East, so not exactly starting off that visit to Israel in a strong way. Then we'll get to the video clips for our TV audience. Donald and Melania Trump were walking with Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife, who were holding hands. Donald Trump tried to hold Melania's hand, and she sort of slaps his hand away in a very, very odd way. And then Trump, he was kind of smooth. "Oh, yeah, I was just trying to adjust my tie, not hold my wife's hand." She then again refused to hold Donald Trump's hand last night when they arrived in Rome and were getting off Air Force One. And you see Donald Trump trying to hold her hand and Melania pulling her hand away and moving some hairs out of her eyes. And then Donald Trump instead patting her on the buttocks. So potentially trouble in paradise. Is Melania Trump being held hostage? We had that viral video that got 4 or 5 million views, Pat, where we caught Melania looking very, very concerned during the inauguration and not pleased with Donald Trump. So a number of these lightly cringeworthy moments during the trip to Israel. You with me so far?
Yeah, well, it's no wonder why Melania is staying in New York City instead of at the White House with Trump. I think she found out about all these sexual assault allegations and the troubles in Donald Trump's past at the same time as we did.
Well, she says she's forgiven Donald and that we should as well. And I believe her or something. Yeah, maybe not. So let's get back to Trump's trip to Israel, okay? Then, at another point during his trip in Israel, Donald Trump defends himself against an allegation about Russia that nobody ever made. He appeared alongside the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the press started asking Trump about when he haphazardly gave intel to Russian diplomats in the Oval Office, intelligence that we now believe came from Israel. And Donald Trump basically denied something that no one ever argued. Take a listen to this.
Just so you understand.
Akiva.
Just so you understand, I never mentioned the word or the name Israel. Never mentioned it during that conversation. They were all saying I did. So you had another story wrong. Never mentioned the word Israel.
So no one actually ever accused Trump of saying, "Hey, Sergey, I got this info from Israel." Nobody said that. Trump told Sergey what they had learned, never mentioned it was from Israel, may not even have known it was from Israel. So again, Pat, Trump is denying something no one ever accused him of.
There was some speculation in the media that the information did come from Israel, but no one in the original sources ever reported that Trump told the Russians that the source was Israel.
Absolutely. And Benjamin Netanyahu looking perplexed and confused and sort of amused as Trump is doing this. So then here is the crowning achievement of cringe during this trip so far. Trump visits Yad Vashem on Mount Herzl in Jerusalem. This is Israel's official Holocaust memorial. There's a museum, the Hall of Names, which remembers victims of the Holocaust. This is a very, very somber place, okay? And by the way, I wonder what Trump's alt-right fans think about their dear leader giving a Holocaust memorial speech at Yad Vashem, okay? Who knows what they think about that? Typically, when heads of state visit the site, they're asked to leave a message in the guest book there, okay? And this is where things start to get vile and humiliating. The memorial is a somber and solemn place. I've been here. Somber and solemn is an understatement. Barack Obama, for example, left a pretty lengthy, heartfelt, and well-written note in the guest book when he visited in 2008, where he says he's grateful to Yad Vashem and all of the people, all of those responsible for it being there as an institution. He talks about a time of great peril and strife, and it's a very well-written, full-page letter, typical Barack Obama fashion, right?
Back when we had an intelligent and articulate president?
Right, exactly. And he talks about let our children come here and know the history so they can add their voices to proclaim never again and remember those who perished. Very, very nice letter that President Obama left there. George W. Bush, okay, not exactly a verbose guy, but he left a short and solemn message when he visited Yad Vashem. God bless Israel, George W. Bush. In comes Donald Trump and instead wrote in all caps printed letters in what looks like the writing of a little kid. And I'm going to put this note up for you. It is a great honor to be here with all of my friends. So amazing and will never forget, Donald Trump. Sounds like he had a grand old time. I mean, totally tone deaf as usual. It's what a second grader would write if they were to visit Yad Vashem, and not a second grader at the top or middle of their class. This would be like what the second grader who was out on the day that they explained what Yad Vashem was would write something like this. I had fun here with all my friends, in all caps.
It reminds me of when Justin Bieber went to the Anne Frank Museum.
Yeah.
And he left a note in the guest book that said, Anne Frank would have been a great girl. She would have been a believer.
Right.
And that was Justin Bieber saying that, and he got a lot of flack for it. This is the president saying this.
It's the president of the United States humiliating himself like he's a child and referring only to himself and his friends rather than to Jews, Israel, or the Holocaust. Just embarrassment after embarrassment. Today's episode of The David Pakman Show is made possible in part by Warby Parker eyeglasses. Warby Parker recently did the right thing and ditched advertising on right-wing conspiracy website Breitbart, pulling their ads off. And you can get the free 5-day home try-on from Warby Parker. Check out their glasses. I use them when I'm not wearing contact lenses. I started with the free at-home trial. They send you 5 pairs of glasses. You see which ones you like, you send them back, and whichever one you pick, they will put your prescription into. I like this because I can actually show the glasses to other people and not have to just decide on the spot like in an eyeglass store. The eyeglass industry is controlled by very few corporations that keep the prices very, very high, even over $300 for prescription glasses. With Warby Parker, they start at just $95. Mine costs that, including lenses. And for every pair sold, they give a pair to someone in need. So to try the 5 pairs and support the David Pakman Show, go to warbyparkertrial.com/TDPS.